Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jay Spear, as you obviously know. And for the people I chose to interview, I picked Dr. Gregory Fuller as my professor, and I chose Jennifer Carson as my grad student. Um, I guess I'll start talking about Dr. Fuller and why I chose him. He is the chorale director, and he's also the head of the solely conducting department in the music area of Southern. Anyway, he's super qualified. He's the best director I've ever worked with, and conducting is something I'm really looking into as to doing for a living. Um, Conducting a choir is what kind of got me into the whole music business in the first place. As to a major, anyway. Like I always like singing and stuff. That's irrelevant. Not to digress. So I chose him to talk to, and I asked him a whole bunch of really random, not so much related questions, ranging from what to do to prepare to kind of get to an area where he's at right now, and what did he wish he could have done, things of the sort. Um, I'm not gonna talk about him in any particular order, but just some of the highlights of our interview. Um, I asked him for some advice as to what I could be doing now to really get ready to teach at a collegiate level someday, because that's something I'm really interested in doing. And his advice was to be timely. And basically, he told me that, and before I try to get my doc, well, okay, let me start over. He told me that I needed to get at least a doctorate if I wanted to teach at like a big 4 year, university program or whatever. And so, um, but he also told me that before I try to get a doctorate in anything, that I should at least have some full time experience teaching. And so, by be timely, he kind of meant that I need to really plan and pay attention to what I've got going on in the next 10 to 15 years, because he said that he'd recommend, if you're going to teach at the college level, to be there by the time you're 35. He says 35 because it's hard to start off in a job, just anywhere, with a low paying salary, yada yada, being at the bottom of the totem pole. And he said it's just really difficult to get into, to be on the bottom of the food chain as, say an old 46-year-old man or something. So he recommended that to just be really aware of time, and I'll quote him in this. This is something he said later in another part of the interview, but it also applies here. He said time is a limited commodity, and I really like that. And it's just that time can be your best friend, time can be your worst enemy, and he made that really clear. And especially with everything that I've got to do in order to prepare to possibly be at the level he's at someday. So that was a really huge focus of our interview, and I really liked all that. And other things I asked him, I wanted to know how he got to be so skillful at what he does, because I know none of y'all have ever seen him at work, but he's just phenomenal and blows my mind every day in practice with how he communicates what he wants out of the music and what he's desiring. And it's hard to put it into words, really, but he just told me that when it comes to his ear for hearing things, he's been around music ever since he was, 4, being a singer in church choir or whatever, and starting to take piano and cello as a 7-year old, and just always knowing that music was something he wanted to do, and having been around it for such a long time, it's just one of those things that kind of develops over time, I guess. And I asked him how he became the great director he is, like how he communicates what he wants out of a piece, and how he, yeah, I mean that's really what it is. And he basically said that it's a two-part battle. It's understanding what your choir is capable of, and being able to get the demands right towards your choir, knowing how to ask them what they're capable of, and portraying how to get that out of them. It sounds all complicated, but it made sense to me. And so that was another really big important thing that I was really curious as to how to get to where he's at. Because I mean, honestly, if I ever turned out like him, I'd be successful. Um, I'm probably starting to ramble, which is not good. But as far as that interview goes, those are the hot spots. So I guess I'll go on and I'll talk about my grad student. I interviewed Jennifer Carson, as I already said. She got her bachelor's degree in music education and is now working on her master's in choral conducting. And so I really chose her just because there weren't many grad students that had music ed undergrad degrees. But also, I've gotten to know her lately, and she's awesome. And she's been directing our choir or chorale lately because Dr. Fuller's had to step out and do stuff with the orchestra. So a lot of our grad students have stepped in, and I've really seen her actually get to do what she's here for, and she's actually pretty great at it. But so I asked her a lot of questions, really more pertaining to grad school and how she got through her undergrad years and what was she thinking about all the way, along the journey and like how she's changed. And so one of my first questions I asked her actually had to deal with stupid. No, I shouldn't say stupid. Totally not stupid because I get a bad grade for calling it stupid. The Johnny Bunko stuff. I asked her if she had a plan and how she dealt with that and if it changed. And fortunately, she figured it out that you have to change to be successful. And she told me that she started out as an undergrad music ed with a piano emphasis and quickly found out that that wasn't for her and switched over into the vocal side of things and quickly fell in love with conducting and just the idea of it and being able to use small gestures to get such large effects out of a choir. And so she pursued that and even was considering going straight into grad school after undergrad and just got kind of burned out on teaching or on learning, on being in school, and just decided to start teaching instead. And so she is kind of a walking, talking example of how things can kind of go wrong with what you think are going to happen and still be able to adjust and cope with it. And so that was a really reassuring thing because I know that I've been questioning what I'm going to do and I really have no idea in the future to come. But she assured me that there's plenty of opportunities out there. And so that was pretty nice. She really stressed piano playing as an important thing for me. And as being a music educator, that was kind of random. But she said that that's one of the most important things that you can be doing, and so that's why I brought it up. Other things I asked her about her influences, and as I said, she just kind of drifted to the choral side of things and just became captivated by it, I guess. I'm not a great speaker. Sorry. Um, One of the big concerns that I was having with being a music major was student teaching because I honestly have no idea what I would be doing right now if I were to have to get up in front of a class and teach people. I wouldn't know where to start, what to do. And so I asked her how intimidating it was to have to walk into a classroom and just see a bunch of unknown faces and start, directing and just getting things done. And she said it was one of the most nerve-wracking things she's had to do, but that it became more of a comfortable thing as she just went through, and the more she got experience with her choir and teaching, the more comfortable that she got around them, the more comfortable they were with her, and the more they responded. And so she really reassured me, and that it's not going to be so bad and scary after all, and that's a huge plus. And that was the main thing I got out of my interview with her, that even if it seems like it's going to be really hard, not to worry because it gets a lot better and only experience will bring you to where you are. So that's what I got out of my two interviews, and I hope you've enjoyed listening. Thanks.